Kant once said, "Human reason, in one sphere of its cognition, is called upon to consider questions which it cannot decline, as they are presented by its own nature, but which it cannot answer, as they transcend every faculty of the mind." What are you? What is the thing that's looking through your eyes and hearing through your ears? What is the one thinking your thoughts and controlling your body? Science tells us that we are the body or the brain. Religion tells us that we are soul, and our friends tells us it doesn't really matter. But no matter where we go or what we read, we always find ourselves with nowhere to go and no conclusion to disperse the doubt. How could it be the case that after decades of scientific research, dozens of different religions, and countless philosophers trying to find an answer, we are still ignorant of the most important question of all? What am I? The first and most obvious answer we usually come up with is, I'm the body. Since we are able to control it at will and perceive only what our body is perceiving, it is a pretty good guess. But is that so? Our bodies are composed by 37.2 trillion cells, which are working very hard day and night to keep us alive. Our heart beats 42 million times a day, and our digestive system is constantly processing food so it can be absorbed and processed by us. But where are we in all of this messy process? What part do we really play? I cannot make my heart stop at will, and I'm not conscious nor aware of the process that cells partake to turn food into energy and carry their job. It looks like the body acts by itself almost without any participation on our part. Fair enough, I could claim that I'm the one deciding when to move a hand or close my eyes, but that just compromises less than 1% of everything that my body is currently doing. Therefore, it's not entirely true to say that we are the ones 100% in control of the body. Furthermore, if we claim that what we are is the body, losing some part of it would entail losing some part of ourselves, right? But we don't feel that when our hair falls or when we trim our nails, don't we? And to take this analogy further, consider the possibility of losing a finger or a limb. I know it's sounding a bit tragic, but bear with me. We don't say that a person is less themselves if they had the bad fortune of losing some part of their body. Their essence, so to speak, is still intact, even though their body is not. So although we might have some control of the body, most of its functions are automatic. Also, losing some part of it doesn't affect our essence significantly. If we are not the body, then what are we? We might not probably be on our hands or feet, but we might probably be on our brains. Our perceptive organs like eyes, ears, and skin capture information and send it directly to the brain. The brain then processes that information and transforms it in our current experience, which we happen to be conscious of. It is logical to conclude that, since this process occurs in the brain, we must be somewhere there, at the receiving end of the spectrum. Or to put it in another way, there's a stimuli or external reality. Our perceptive organs catch that and send electrochemical signals to the brain. Then the brain transforms that information into experience, which we then become aware of. This is pretty well documented. We know where it happens and how. But where is this conscious entity I call me, the one aware of experience, residing? It's not like there are master neuron or master neurons in my brain to which all experience goes to. If we open my skull and dig through my brain, we're not going to find me. We're just going to find bloods and lots of brains. We might think that science has an answer for this, but to make matters worse, even with neuroscience continuous advancements, scientists still are not closer to understanding how the brain can produce a conscious entity, which is known as the hard problem of consciousness. If we're not the body, if we're not the brain, what are we then? Some people call this soul, but what I'm referring to here is this invisible, non-material object who's having thoughts and controlling the brain and the body. The body and the brain are just physical objects that the mind uses, that we use, to interact with the physical world. But where is the mind residing? Where are we residing if we're not here? If we're not in the brain nor in the body? Although the mind or soul cannot be perceived directly, we can perceive the thoughts that we generate. Therefore, we infer that there's some hidden or unknown source, which is us, doing the controlling and the thinking. We are an immaterial object somewhere in here, hidden and weirdly enough, unperceivable. Although we experience ourselves as the thinkers and perceivers, what we call mind or soul, after a thorough investigation, cannot be found. We perceive and experience sight, sound, sensation, and thought, but we cannot possibly be them, since we are the ones doing the perceiving. Just as a light cannot illuminate itself, we cannot perceive ourselves since we are the ones doing the perceiving. Sound a bit strange, doesn't it? If we reveal that we are not the body, if we reveal we are not the brain, and if we reveal that the mind or soul cannot be found, what could we possibly be? It seems that we don't have many options left. We can either wait until science comes up with a reasonable answer, or we can adhere to a religion or belief system. But if we are brutally honest, none of them will suffice. In our experience, we don't know what we truly are, no matter how advanced scientific discoveries become, or how sophisticated our belief systems are. Perhaps we're destined to a life of ignorance. Science can be very helpful to understand how reality works, but it could easily fall short at grasping some of the most existential questions that bothers us. Our perceptions can be very useful to navigate in this world, but might never show us what we really are. But perhaps there's another way to discover the answer that's not being acknowledged in our culture. Perhaps there's a way to know what we are, independent of perception, thought, mind and body. And perhaps, just perhaps, the answer could set us free.